when we get a hard, fast thunderstorm now. So I don't know. I just don't feel like that's any way to live. You know what I mean? I can't leave my house. I mean, if I do, I literally have to get all those pumps ready, and then I have to try to finagle some pool noodles around my basement door so all the bugs and crap doesn't come in, and then put some against it so the storm doesn't blow it open. But I don't want to live like that in my house. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, I mean, I just don't know what to do next. I've talked to some different contractors in town. I have one coming out to see if he can, now he's not gonna be able to help me with that water problem, but he's gonna try to help me look at a solution to maybe possibly eject the water faster. But I have to keep this within reason, because I don't wanna spend, you know, I can't spend $100,000 on this drain problem. I wasn't the one that put in the big pipe and brought all the water from the west, so, I just can't afford to do that. You know, Mr. Lake had suggested running a perimeter drain the whole west side of my property and then putting a big berm across it. I can't afford to do that. That would be crazy. I mean, it just would. I mean, I got a lot of equity in my house, but I don't have that much. So, I don't know. I just need to know what to do next, guys. I'm at a loss. I can't even file an insurance claim. I tried. I called my agent. Because I don't lose power. My pumps don't quit.
Dixon Road, where the new, I don't know if it's a pipe or culvert was installed.
It's a pipe.
There is a, I don't want to call it, I don't know what you would call a sinkhole, potentially something there on the side that has developed. So I don't know what that has to do with this problem, but that is something that we're probably going to have Amber take a look at as well.
Actually, the city's already been notified about it.
Okay.
It's a 12-inch tile coming to that structure there in the road that's going down, and the city's been notified.
City.
Yep. City controls that road. Have you had a contractor find your outlet of your sump pump yet?
Yeah, it's flowing. I got video of it. We dug down and the top of the pipe and the water's flowing through it. I got video of the water if you want to see
So
it.
where does it outlet at?
I don't know where it outlets, but I got video of the top of part of the pipe with water moving through it. So it's not stuck. It's not meeting resistance. It's moving. I just don't know where it's going. I didn't dig up my whole yard, but we found part of the pipe. Tyler from Mike Sewer came out and helped me with that.
Was it close to your foundation drain where they located it? Or?
No, this is clear back, halfway down the back of my backyard. where we
So
found it.
we are on the north side of the regulated drain.
As far as where I found it? Yes, sir, yeah, way down my, yeah.
And what
I mean, like I
size-
say, I'm moving water as best I
Sure.
can.
What size tile is it?
Oh, it's just a regular plastic drainage. It's that corrugated stuff.
So like a 4-inch tile?
I don't know if it's 4 or 6 inches. It's the black tubing that nobody uses anymore. So, when Tyler was out, he suggested I have somebody run a solid pipe straight from the west of my house, tie all my drains into it, and just dump it right on top of your drain. So that's what I'm gonna entertain, but I gotta look at the cost of it.
I was gonna say dumping it on top of the regulated drain is only halfway.
I know,
not even
it's only
halfway
gonna
through
keep
your yard.
it's gonna keep my basement sump okay, but it's not gonna do anything to the water that's coming up and breaking over the threshold of my yard and coming in through the doors. It's not gonna fix that. So that's where my bigger issue is. And, you know, like I told them a couple weeks ago, I don't think my house or my foundation can wait the 10 years or whatever it's gonna take to redo that drain with a bigger drain. I mean, I'm worried about my foundation at this point, taking on all that water. Because the ground just gets, when we get a hard rain, my ground just can't take on that water. The whole west side of my property is just, it's a mosh pit, just slushy, wet, and yeah, the only reason I'm allowed to flush my toilet during it rains like that is because my sump literally sits up right next to the house on the higher ground, or not my sump, but my septic tank. So Tyler said if it wasn't for that, if my septic tank was down a little bit, I wouldn't even be able to flush my toilet because it's just being overwhelmed with all that water. So that was his opinion. So, I mean, he's a septic guy, but he said, but because it's up high enough right next to the house, I'm okay as far as flushing my toilet.
And that kind of confirms what I told you as far as a cutoff trench, because the water table, what's flowing through the ground and getting to your foundation,
Right.
making your sump pump run. So, I mean, that sounds like we're on the same page with the gentleman that you got out to your property.
Is your property lower than the parcels around you?
No.
His house is
It
not,
just happens to be right next to the county drain, this well.
his lot has about 8 foot of fall across it. So to the back of the lot, where overland flow occurs, is about the same elevation as his basement. His basement's a little bit higher, but not a whole bunch. Does that seem
Just a
accurate?
couple, probably, from the drain to
No.
my basement, or?
From the basement floor to the back of your property, where the water runs over land through the back swale, it's not more than a foot above that elevation.
No, I think it's a little more than that. Because when I don't get flooded out by the rising water, that stream that we get it's actually a couple, 2 or 3 feet deep at least. Because it comes up and it engulfs my arborvitae trees that run the length of the property, and then I have that big sycamore tree. It's completely underwater when that happens, and then next thing I know, it's coming in the doors.
So,
So that's what I'm up against.
so when you look at his house, it's got a basement underneath it. That's what's got the difference.
If we went out there right now to that, I call it a swale that goes through your back, is that wet right now, today? probably?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's always, it's like a giant running toilet. That body of water is always running. Does not act like a retention pond at all. It's always running, even on Christmas
I
Day.
don't know. That's what I asked.
You can stand on my deck and hear it.
It's not tied into us. It's not tied into you.
Like I said, I can do what I can to try to eject it out of my sump or my perimeter, but I can't do
Can you
anything
bring
about
your-
when it's coming up.
He wants to see your,
Oh, the map?
You have a map, picture of that?
It's actually Mr. Lake's map. He gave it to us. The area in green is the watershed that's coming.
The map that I have is the same as what you have.
That's the county drain, the little black line. So it's overcoming that, and it's coming.
where's the pond at, right here?
The ponds are here, and then the new pipe is right there, where the black lines are.
And the new pipe goes this way.
If you
Well, it
look
comes
in
through
your
here, and it all dumps out like a
packet,
giant fire
there's
goes into this, and
a
then
blow up to
it
it. Yeah.
raises up. This drain is
This
not
is
like this
bigger.
big underground, and it can't handle it.
map in your
It
packet.
just raises up and it just saturates my whole west side of my property.
So when you talked about everything was fine till the new 24-inch went in, is that this?
No, it's just the one they put under Dixon.
Just the one under Dixon?
Yeah, no, you guys didn't do anything out on the farm. You just put the pipe under the road, that's all they did.
Correct.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
There's actually 3 15s, a 12, and a 6 coming to the west side of the road.
And it was,
that have
it was
been
plugged off.
Plugged up for
It was
years.
plugged off for a long time, and when they did that, it obviously helped him, but
Right.
it's,
Just push the problem downstream.
it's made my life a living hell to put it lightly. So, I'm not blaming him, and I'm not even blaming Mr. Lake, it's just, I mean, the drain's too small. I mean, he knew that is. I mean, if you came out and looked at it, when this is happening, any reasonable person would see that and think, oh, wow,
Reconstruct it.
guys, no, this is not,
Yeah.
no, this is all of this,
Yeah, I can
300
see
plus
that.
acres.
Goes
is
right
going-
by your,
That's only 6 feet deep. It's not a real pond. And these big pipes here are all broken up and they're falling apart too. And he knows about that. It's just a big mess.
Just-
It
does
really
anybody
is.
else have any problems?
Just so the board understands, I've had 3 work orders out on this ditch for a while, and they're just now the contractors are just starting to get to the projects. I think there's one out there potentially today and tomorrow. I've got another one moving in to fix the pipes, the inlets on the ponds. Those should be fixed by the end of the week, hopefully, if I can get out of another job. And then there's a third contract that's out on the project for fixing a hole. So we continually spend money to keep water flowing in this watershed. It is greatly undersized for what we're trying to use it for. As an ag drain, it worked for residential urban sewer, it's not even close. It's a 12-inch tile.
And this was put in, this division, this housing was put in before, this had to come through our office, is that correct?
The development did come through this board back in the 80s.
About 30-some years ago.
Late 80s, early 90s, because in the 90s, 93 is when the septic ordinance changed, and we had to start doing soil borings and get away from perk tests. And that's when this subdivision had a major problem, because all of the development destroyed the ground for septic, and that caused a major problem. So through the 90s, even into early 2000, there was a serious fight between the developer, the health department, and trying to get sewers out there.
With the work orders that you have out, Mr. Lake, and if he, you know, he had potentially mentioned that he was considering running it, is that gonna give him any relief? No.
No, I don't believe he will get relief in that fashion, no.
But I don't know what else to do.
What diameter discharge pipe do you have on your sump pumps? An inch and a half?
Inch and a half. Normal pipe.
You know, if you'd go to 2 inch, it'd make a world of difference.
I talked to a plumber about that, and he said even with the, because I showed him this map too, and he's been a plumber for like 40 years. Even with the 2-inch pipe and a commercial pump, he said, you know, you might eject the water out here, but again, I'm not gonna be able to fight the water that's coming up and coming at me. You know what I'm saying?
You know, you could
I'm
put-
just gonna be
put a dent
pumping
in
it back into where it's still coming from. Does that make sense? So even if I ejected it out the east side of my property into the street, down my driveway into the street, because that was another idea that one of the guys had, I'm still gonna be recycling it, because it's gonna be coming right back at me. I mean, full tilt.
Okay.
I don't know why this is so different now, but something has changed. I don't know what's changed with that pond, with the farm ground. Something's changed for it to unleash like this on my property.
The tile, something you said that's I'm questioning a little bit is, you said that it's a 4-inch corrugated tile that was running full. How, and you only had an 1.5 inch sump pumping to it? That to me is a problem. I truly believe you have tree roots in your outlet line. And that's what's restricting your pump.
In the 4-inch line, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I probably do, and that's why I fully intend to try to eject it through a solid pipe. And I'm gonna pay to have that done out of my own pocket, but I don't think that's gonna resolve this. That's my issue. I don't think that's gonna resolve this, I really don't. And neither do any of the professionals that came and looked at it. They think I'm just treading water, and even though I'm gonna probably spend thousands of dollars to go with the solid pipe,
When the pump's not running, does the pipe drain out? Does the black pipe drain?
no, there's nothing when the pump's not running, no.
So it just stands with water in it?
No, there's no water in it.
So it drains out?
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay.
Because what I did was, during one of these thunderstorms, right after it got done, I ran out there with an umbrella, and where Tyler had dug down and exposed the pipe, and there it is, it's going. So I was like, well, it's going somewhere, but I wasn't gonna dig up the rest of my yard
But
to try
then
and
when the
find.
pump shuts off, it dries out?
Yes, sir.
That tile goes
Yes, sir,
dry.
yeah, if I go out there right now and look down in there where it's exposed, yeah, there's nothing in there. So it's going somewhere. Now, is it going at its full capacity? Probably not, like you said.
Yeah.
Just like your county drain, it's full of roots and everything else. That's why I said, you know, I got a contractor, I'm on his docket to come and look at tying in and doing a straight shot with a solid pipe. But after that, then what? You know, like I said, I can't do anything about the millions of gallons of water that are coming from the west that are just overwhelming my property. So, I know. And you weren't around when they approved the subdivision or the pond. I know. I've never blamed you about it at all, but something's gotta be done.
Do your neighbors have the same problems?
No, not like this. Nobody else is right next to it.
But that's your house right there in that wedge.
No, our streets will flood. Our streets will flood. from the drains backing up. So I guess that, if you want to call that a problem, yeah. And there has been some with some basements wet, but not to this extreme like I'm dealing with.
But your property's in like a wedge shape?
Yeah, it's just under an acre. Yeah, it's a wedge shape. It's a really
There's a
irregular lot.
map in
And your
your,
neighbor's also in that wedge shape.
Yeah, right next to me. She's actually here, yeah.
Yeah, I pulled it up on Beacon here to look at it. So
Right here.
I blew up this for you so you could see exactly his property. That's him.
Okay, yeah, right here.
So if his property is here,
Correct.
when would this property have the same?
She does. She's sitting back. This is all built up, and they lost their retaining wall during the last rain event because of the amount of water flowing through the area. Is that correct? Your back wall fell?
We lost part of our back.
I couldn't
wall.
figure out what his house
That was
was for a
first.
long time.
Yep.
Cause I'm like,
We
It,
normally have water
there's no way that
running
these houses get wet.
But this
back
is
there.
mostly
During
rock
that big rain.
and trees.
And I figured out it was there.
That's where we clean tree roots out, is through that section, when we go out to clean tree
It
roots.
fills up with water.
when we get a hard thunderstorm, even if it's just a couple inches, there's so much water that comes in and overcomes that drain on top of that swell. It'll take the large riprap and move it down in the middle of my yard out by my sycamore tree out back, which is at least 60 or 70 feet.
Beautiful house.
So, I mean, that's some moving water to move riprap
What town?
when you're just talking about, just a few feet deep.
26. Allentown.
And Mr. Lake, real quickly, if you did a new drain in this whole watershed, a ballpark figure on what that would cost to the homeowners in there for a new drain?
So what we're talking about is a reconstruction.
Yes.
Ballpark to start out with, I think we're looking at a little under $500,000 to run a drain to accommodate what the concerns are here tonight. So right now, the ditch is in the hole, $5,372. Like I told you, I have 3 work orders out on it, so I expect it to be probably closer to that 15,000 in the hole before the end of the month. So proposal on if you're wanting to try and move forward with something, I would be looking at offering up doing something like we did with Brookshire in this subdivision, increase in the assessment to a minimum fee of about $300 a year to generate $50,000 a year for the next 3 years. Utilize that fund to pay for a design of what it's going to take to fix it, and then lower that annual assessment back to about $7,000 would be roughly is what it truly needs to keep water flowing and maintenance on it. And then go to a reconstruction. And that's where we would find out whether the watershed truly wants to fix it or not. But I think we're gonna have those kind of dollars just to get started, because this is going to be a bid project. I won't do the design on it. We'll have to kick it to a firm.
That's where you said at the one meeting, your neighbors would no longer be your friends.
Right.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
For sure of that. Because it doesn't affect them like it does me.
Right.
Yeah, until their basement floods, then that
Right.
will change.
Right.
Or until your house becomes inhabitable.
Right,
Their
or my,
property values
you know,
start
I,
going down.
I was worried when we got that 7 inches of rain, I thought for sure my basement wall was just gonna cave right in. Cause you couldn't even walk in my side yard without falling in ankle deep. My ground was so just, it was a mess. So, but like I said, when we get 2 inches of rain, it's a mess. So I mean, what do I do? And what do I do for the next 3 years while they're doing a study or a plan? I mean, How do I continue to live like this? I'm already to the point where, because I can't do an insurance claim, so I'm gonna have to unfinish my basement myself and probably just, paint the floor and put some kind of plastic trim and wainscoting on it, but, I should be able to do that. I got a full bedroom and full bath down there, living room, it's a nice finished basement, or it was. But now that it's been underwater so much, I have to tear it up because I know there's mold growing underneath it. I just haven't got that far yet.
Greg, if we follow the model on Brookshire, what's the next step?
Send out assessment increase notices. We'll have a public hearing, and that would happen this year. We'll start collecting funds for 26 pay, or 25 pay 26, so spring of next year. And in that interim time, we would start moving forward with the design. Knowing that the money's gonna come back, just be deficit spending.
You've seen more of these than I have, but, when I look at this, I think that's what it's gonna take to solve it. And keep this subdivision like everybody wants it over the long haul.
It is a nice subdivision, nice homes, people take care of their property out there. But putting a 12-inch tile through there, expecting it to do miracles, it's not going to. I think you're looking at more like a 36 to a 42-inch drain to get the water moving through that section. And then you got to upsize downstream culverts that are maybe undersized as well. So no, it's going to be expensive. And that's why it's never been done.
And you realize what this will do to your yards.
Well, no, he already talked about the route that he would take. It wouldn't be in our yard, it would be in the easement.
Yeah, I would
Where we get the
not-
creek.
I would not follow the existing
Yeah.
layout.
The existing drain does go through my yard, through my neighbor's yard, and then it goes in between the houses on the way out to 26.
But it's still gonna be construction.
Yeah.
So when the subdivision was platted, the drainage swales were installed because overland flow is a lot cheaper to handle. They haven't been maintained, so they have pots and sinks in it. I would be looking at following that swale a lot closer, just enough to keep cover on the pipe.
Have you contacted a contractor that is experienced in drainage, or just plumbers?
No, sir, I've got Mr. Blazer, I'm on his docket.
Okay,
I was told he's the best,
yep, you're right.
so.
I would agree.
And I asked him, because he said he's gonna get to me as soon as he can, I asked him if he could refer somebody else, because I'm kinda in a pickle, like I said, you guys know what I have to do every time it rains. And he said, there's nobody else, so I'll get to you when I get to you. So that was Mr. Blazer.
Josh, you want to share the microphone for a minute? You want to come up to the,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm Shelley Lehman. I live next door to Josh, and yes, he has significant issues. However, I do want to make it known that before this large pipe was put in 2024, we didn't have this issue. We didn't have the mass amount of flooding that we've had the last 2 years. Now, Mr. Lake has said that, it was a 100-year flood in 2024 when they installed that big pipe. However, it happened again a year and, 13 months later in 2025. The smaller pipe, yes, it slowed the amount of water that we had coming in from the field, but when they installed that large pipe, we get inundated with water every time it rains. No matter how much rain we get, whether it's 2 inches or 7 inches, our pond raises. Then that, in turn, flows down. When we got the flood in 2025, in May of this year, or June, because May was last year, in June of this year, June 14th, the pipe that was installed in the farmer's field has completely washed away. It's not even attached anymore to the drain that runs under Dixon Road. I walked over there today to take more pictures because I reported it to Mr. Lake 2 days after the flood on Monday morning. I was here at 9 o'clock or 9:30 that morning saying, hey, we've got some major issues. The pipes in our pond, quote-unquote pond, have disintegrated. They're completely broken, even more than they were before. We installed the new pipe in 2014, or 2024. This pond is not being maintained by the county or the city. We've contacted him about erosion, not safe to mow around. Now we've got so much debris still over the drain pipes that it's still not letting water flow over correctly. The pipe in the field is still detached. More erosion is on that side of Dixon Road. And now we have a huge sinkhole on our side of Dixon Road that's 4 times bigger than what was reported on 2 days after the initial flood that we had in June. Nothing is being attached, and nothing is being fixed. We still have debris from the field. The pipes across 26 were overrun with water that run into the apartment complex across just north of us on 26. Their ground eroded, and their riprap was thrown all over the place because of the amount of water coming from the field and from the initial flood in June. If we went back to the smaller pipe to alleviate some of the gushing of water, that helps control the flood water coming through the pond. It may flood for days, but it's not going to be the massive amounts, millions of gallons of water that are coming across now. So there's more to it than just putting in bigger pipes down the line. 36-inch pipes and whatever down the line isn't going to help what we've got going on now. We have nothing to stop the water coming in from that 300 and some odd acres coming into this 6-foot, which is now even more shallow because of all the garbage that's in it from the fields. It's not helping. We have a massive problem with the new pipes that's put in, and now they're not even attached, they're eroding. And the sinkhole now, and I can show you pictures that I took at 4 o'clock this afternoon, if somebody hits that, because the sinkhole is literally next to Dixon Road. If a car would go off into that, it would be a casualty. It's dangerous. It's deep, it's wide, a car would be swallowed into it at this point. And it sits right at the pond where this new pipe was put in a year ago. This needs to be addressed. This is a safety issue, not only for our neighborhood, because we have massive amounts of flooding, and I've already mentioned to you before, there's only one way in and out of this addition. We get another 6 or 7 inches of rain, which is happening all over the United States right now. If we get another one of those floods, we have medically critical, ill people that live in our addition. They could not be helped if there was a medical emergency. We have a major issue that needs to be addressed. I don't know what that is going to help tonight, because right now all I'm hearing is spending more money and putting in bigger pipes. That's not going to solve the problem. Thank you.
Whose pond is that?
The pond was in place prior to the subdivision, but the subdivision utilized the pond as their drainage network. So the pond is part of the regulated drain, or the regulated drain runs through the pond. So to address your statement on the road sinkhole, that was turned over to the city the day after you were in the office. I called them directly and expressed that to the city highway road department. And as far as I know, they're working on that.
Have you been out to see?
I know that I'm have no doubt that you were out there today and it hasn't been addressed yet. Yep, it's a 15-inch tile that runs down that side of the road, and that's what's collapsed. It's not tied to the tile that I put in. It's not tied to the regulated drain. It's tied to that manhole that drains the road.
You could put a small car,
Put the 24.
front end of that car into that,
Why did the 24?
and it's right on Dixon Road.
Because the road collapsed. There was a huge hole under the middle of Dixon where all of our tiles, all these tiles came together There's,
There's
like I
another.
said, 315, the 12, and a 6 all came, and that's what blew up the road.
Wow.
Because it collapsed under, there's a whole bunch of utilities under there.
This is the pipe that goes to the farmer's field. It's not even attached and hasn't been since the June flood, June
But-
14th flood.
Just so you understand, that pipe is not to be attached. It's an outlet pipe. They are outletting to the surface because those are surface drain culverts. That's how that's supposed to be.
Okay, then all the ground that's over on that side of the road is eroded.
Absolutely it is.
So that's
Yeah.
affecting Dixon Road as well.
The erosion that is occurring in front of those surface pipes, that's where the landowner had outletted that 15-inch pipe, is in front of those surface culverts.
Okay, well, I'm telling you right now, on either side of Dixon Road, it is, both sides have eroded. It's safety concern, because people fly up and down Dixon Road.
I
Somebody
understand.
goes off, somebody's gonna get killed. Because there's no stopping that water that's flooding in from the field. And it's coming directly from the field.
It's part of the regulated system, yes. Absolutely. There's a lot of water that goes through this system. I don't disagree with that.
Thank you. All right, what's the next step then we're going to do? with
I
this
guess
board?
it'd be the question, does the board want to raise this assessment and take it down the approach of raising the assessment for a short time to do the work, to figure out a fix for this? Or do you just want to continue to Band-Aid this watershed? Because that's all we've been doing for years and years. What did I say? It was regulated in 1912, and the assessment was created in 1976, and it hasn't changed since 1976.
He was just a child. He was just a child.
I was.
What's the wishes of this board?
And you've reported all this to the city.
I talked to Mr. Van Netter in reference to the hole on the road. Yes, I explained to him what it was, and he was going to get out and get it taken care of, but that was right after the rain event, so obviously that hadn't happened yet, so I can call him again. But as far as those work orders, like I said, we are working on the 3 pipes north of 26. Hopefully those are opened up tomorrow. The large inlet pipes, or the outlet pipes to the pond, hopefully by the end of this week, there'll be a large excavator show up out there, because those pipes have to be taken off, those ends are coming off, everything's getting put back to the proper elevation and put back on.
What's the wishes of this board? Anything?
Greg, you have a recommendation what we can do in the meantime? I mean, I hear a long-range concept, but what can we do right now?
The only thing I could see that would improve the water situation is if the subdivision wanted to regrade their overland swell and put a better grade to that overland swell, because as water outlets from the pond, it hits a splash pad. Once it exceeds the 12-inch tile, filling that 12-inch tile, it overruns that splash pad and runs through the neighborhood. So making that waterway to a better grade would help facilitate water moving away from his house. But you're gonna grade from basically 26 all the way back up. That's the cheapest way that I would know how to move water away from his house.
That would help the movement, the capacity of
Correct.
water.
You're talking about like just making a steeper grade to go through there? Is that it?
Yes, taking the
Or-
humps
or
out of
make
it.
some kind of a channel, deeper channel too, or not?
Make it, I wouldn't make it a channel. I mean, it's flat and mobile,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not gonna fix the problem. Don't misunderstand me here. There's a fix to it, and that's to do a design and fix it. What you're asking is for another Band-Aid. And that's what I've talked to the homeowner about, putting a cutoff trench in between his house and the pond. 'Cause I think you have perched water table pushing through the soil into his house. And it's always gonna run his pump until he gravity feeds it away from his house, or he has a pump large enough to keep up with it. If he puts a cutoff trench in, he should be able to gravity feed that water away from his house, and it will slow down the requirement on his pumps. But again, like he's saying, it's not cheap. It is very expensive to do that.
Is that something that the subdivision would be willing to entertain?
I couldn't afford to do that, Mr. Dodd. There's no way.
Greg, what's the cost on your temporary Band-Aid, with the the swale that you talked about?
Oh, you mean like regrading the
Yeah,
swale from
regrading.
26? I don't
Just
know.
ballpark.
Between 20 and 30,000. Because you're gonna have to reseed everybody's yard and all that, because it's multiple owners down through there.
Is this something the HOA could undertake?
We can't get enough people to show up at our meetings to even approve anything. So no, I don't think our HOA would be any help, unfortunately. And she's the president, I'm the treasurer, so pretty good representation here. Yeah.
Well, we have the powers that be right here then, right?
Right, yep, she's the powers that be right there. Like I said, it's none of their problems, you know what I mean? They're not gonna vote for that. Nobody would. Because it's their pocketbook. So, yeah.
We're all scratching our heads trying to figure out a solution. You know? And we run into the same problem. People that live on the other side of the county, they're gonna say, it's not our problem,
Right.
you know? Everyone does this. You know, members of the board, we're just trying to figure out
Right,
a solution that fits everybody's pocketbook.
right,
But we hear your problem as well,
yeah.
so.
Would the board entertain having a public hearing to discuss this issue further and decide from there? Is that not even an option?
I think we need to take it under advisement and give us some thought and try to figure out a solution. Let your department scratch their heads and see what you can come up with.
Well, I have, that's what I'm telling you, you're looking at $400,000 to $500,000 for a fix. It's a reconstruction. That's the only option I can come up with. We looked at maybe filling in the pond, trying to take the pond away altogether and keep it into a channel down through there. That was gonna be about $175,000 to $200,000. There's just no good solution that I'm seeing right now. And with being in debt in the fund, it's really hard to go hire an engineering firm to develop a plan. Because that's where we're at, is we're either gonna keep Band-Aiding it to keep water moving, or we're gonna try and fix it.
I mean, we were faced with the same thing out at Brookshire.
And that's why proposed to you a 3-year large increase to cover the design requirements and back it down to a reasonable amount to keep the maintenance going until reconstruction can be resolved.
Real numbers.
I think you're gonna struggle for the reconstruction. I think you're gonna have a lot of opposition to it.
Before the pipe was put in 2024, we had never had this flooding issue, ever. We've never had the flooding like we've had in the last 2 years. My parents were one of the first people that built their house out there in that addition, and it's been over 30 years ago. I've lived there personally for almost 5 years. The last 2 years is the only time in all of those years that we've had any flooding, is when that new pipe was put in 2024.
Her dad was the one that actually told me to hurry up and get a softener in so my sump would not seize up, so it would run periodically.
Because that smaller pipe that was put in helped regulate the flow of water coming in. Now, instead of having a pipe that is controlling the flow of water, it's wide open because of the size of the pipe that's put in. That's what's changed in the last year and a half. Nothing was an issue before. Now
Except-
we've got water that's so high in June of this year that teenage boys were walking down the street and it was up past their hips. If any of the houses, if there had been a house built on the corner lot next to Josh's, it would have been underwater because the houses across the street from that empty corner lot were underwater. Because the water was flowing so fast, because it was coming out of that pond, or out of that field so fast, the pond couldn't hold the water. And I have video of it coming out of the outlet from the pond in the outlet to go down the swale. It looks like Niagara Falls. That's what's changed in the last year and a half.
But you're describing very specific, intense storms. And I promise you, we are not designing to that size of storm. We can't afford to design to a 7.5-inch storm.
But we've had large amounts of rain in
But-
previous years.
Correct.
And we've not had this issue.
But now we have an issue when we just get a couple inches though.
Keep in mind, there was a huge hole underneath Dixon that had been developing for years. And that, the water, all the pipes coming to Dixon are all the same. It's just now they are in a single pipe coming across instead of in multiple pipes.
How small was the pipe before you put in the big pipe?
There were, on that side, there's 2 15s, a 12, and a 6. And what was under the road was, it was all mashed. So I can't honestly tell you what size pipes came under that road. I believe it was a 12, is what I think it was. But I don't know because of all the different pipes that were there and trying to shoehorn a pipe through those utilities. Because there's actually a 12-inch gas line and a 12-inch water line that we were trying to maneuver through to get through that road.
Did the field across the street flood before the 24-inch pipe was put in?
Have to.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yes,
I can't.
often. I got phone calls on it all the
I
time.
mean, he told me it did, but I never personally seen it. But I talked to Mr. Lake about it.
I've never seen it.
Mr. Salisbury owns it. And then we do have flooding occurring up on that north corner of Chippendale as well. They have some private tiles that come, I believe that 12-inch tile that's, you've taken a picture of, that's a hole, I believe that's a private tile out of Chippendale, that northwest corner right there. I think it runs straight up to that corner, and that's part of the problem that I'm sure some of you have heard about here lately as well.
If I can, I'm on the drainage committee, chairman of the drainage committee out of Chippendale,
Chippendale?
and vice president of the HOA.
Can you come up to the microphone, please? Thank you. Name and address, and thank you.
Yeah, it's Charles Cousins, and I'm Vice President of the HOA out at Chippendale, and I'm Chairman of the Drainage Subcommittee. We've been looking into issues there for quite a while. So when you started talking about Chippendale, I thought I might weigh in on this because
Sure.
I think it's all, the water all ends up probably going the same place.
At least on that northwest corner of Chippendale, it ends up down in there.
But even probably on the south side, it ends up in the creek and we all dump
Oh,
in
yeah,
together.
on past them, it
Yeah,
does. It
it's
ends
gotta
up
go the
going
other way
into
and it ends
the
up, you know,
Wildcat. Sure.
which I guess none of that is regulated.
Correct.
So I guess I'm just here, my concern is that as we address these issues, that we kind of look at a whole approach. I've got some things, I've talked to Hayden some, just trying to figure out, we're still exploring. We've got a mutual drain system that kind of runs between homes and the golf course that we know we have issues with. We're trying to address that within the HOA, but that all eventually ends up in the street drains. And we can't even really get a good map of where everything flows and how it flows, so any help we could get from that. And as we look at the problem they're having at Cotswold, I know I've been there 4 years, and yes, we had a historic rain, but talking to people who have lived in Chippendale forever, they said they've had other historic rains, but it just continues to get worse. We don't know where all the issues are, but it's getting worse. I had water feet from both my front door and my back door. I'm out actually on Chippendale, or on Dixon Road, or 200 West. The transformers that are in our front yard were all but that much underwater. I don't know what issues that might cause, but I mean, and when we have just, again, smaller rains, typical rains, I can tell you that we're seeing a lot more water
Your
than
streets
we
are
used
starting
to.
to flood.
Yeah, so,
And in Chippendale, there's about 3 separate watersheds. 2 of them are regulated, 1 of them is not. So that's why when you say we should be looking at it as a holistic approach, we are looking at it on a watershed basis. So we're looking at that entire catchment. When it comes to the other portions of Chippendale, we would need to be looking at some other watersheds.
okay,
But part of Chippendale definitely flows into Cotswold.
into Cotswold.
Absolutely.
And so that may be part of the.
That's
part of
part
the
of
issue
your,
we're having.
yeah, that northwest corner where we have some streets flooding. I've gotten some complaints on some of that. That's that private drain that's running up to where she's got a picture of a hole in the ground.
Okay,
Absolutely.
You wanna see it, that part of Chippendale's what he's talking about.
yeah.
All the green is coming through here. Everything in the green is coming through here.
Okay.
Which is me. I mean, I'm here. I mean, I've got a huge drain right in my front yard that I believe goes across the road to the field, but I don't know. That's where
Yeah,
we're
that I'm
trying to
not
get.
sure.
It also goes across the fairway back into here, and we just don't know where everything goes. So I guess what I'm asking, can we get some help? Can I come up to an office sometime and we can look at some maps and maybe get some copies of where stuff is, so we know where our private drains tie into the county drains and what we may or may not be able to do,
That would be awesome if I had that kind of information.
okay?
Yeah, we don't. Unfortunately,
You don't
I
have
don't
it.
have any. No,
I mean,
the-
that's what we're finding. We can't, we've been out surveying, poking holes in the ground and trying to find out what we've got, but.
And that's what we do as well. When it comes to your subdivision drains, the only thing that we have are the easements that were drawn on the plats. And then if the drains were installed in those easements, we can usually find them. If they weren't, then that's a problem.
Do we know the street drains, where they're at, the sizes?
It was all done through the subdivision process.
Okay,
So it'd be on the plats or on the, maybe if you can find a drainage plan of what they proposed, it might show where they were proposed, but doesn't show where they were installed.
yeah, we've got some conflicting
Yep.
drawings, but
And that's what we're struggling with on most of our older subdivisions that were built in the sixties and seventies, is we utilized ag drainage to build homes on. And it's failing today. It's failing miserably.
Thank you. So what's this board's wishes on, Mr. Dodge, you said something about taking under advisement. What are we gonna tell Mr. Cawthorn and Cotswold Hills for this evening?
That's about all we can tell them.
I don't think we have a good answer right now. I wish we did.
Yeah, me too. I'm tired of living like this.
But I don't think we just
I think
have
we've
it.
got the answer, but no one wants to pay for it.
Nobody has the money.
I mean, I concur with our surveyor that if we really want to solve this, I guess we can do it now for 600,000, or we can do it in 15 years for $1 million. That's really going to be, that's what it's going to come down to.
In the meantime, though, what do I do when my foundation fails and I lose my home?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you.
I, for one, I'm not prepared to spend $600,000 tonight.
Well, we're not doing that tonight.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to do that.
Chip and Dale be responsible for part of that?
People inside the watershed would be paying as well, yeah. Everybody in the watershed would pay.
Because if I spend $600,000 out there, I've got all these other subdivisions going on, $600,000 spent there as well. So I think we have to come up with a better plan. I hear your concern, no, I do. But I just don't think we're ready to spend $600,000 tonight. So
Are you interested in raising the assessment to start collecting funds? Not for the reconstruction, but for a fix?
are you asking me?
I'm asking you, I guess, or the board as a whole. I mean, I can bring an assessment increase to the board. I can do the mailing and all that.
Guess I'd like to see what that looks like.
It'd be about $300 minimum fee, plus soil type and land use for 3 years. And then you would have some folks paying anywhere from $300 to the larger landowners would be paying almost $2,000 for 3 years.
I think that's part of it. That's 3 years, but that doesn't solve his problem.
No, that's just to start bringing money in, because right now, all we're doing is spending money. We aren't bringing any money in. I'm definitely spending every time I go out there and try and fix something. So I have to raise the assessment. The question is, do you want the assessment to be raised enough just to continue to Band-Aid things? Or do we want to raise the assessment so that funds can be collected to start developing overall fixes?
Sounds like that's a given. I mean, we're gonna have to do that. But again, that doesn't solve his
It is
problem.
not solving his problem tonight, no. It's just starting to work towards a solution
That's
for
a
the
beginning.
overall problem.
Right, that's a beginning. But you understand that that's only a beginning, what he's saying.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't like this at all. Trust me, I don't like it one bit. Because I don't think I got 3 years. I don't think my foundation does. And I'm not crying wolf. I'm being serious. This is bad. Yeah, when that water gushes from the west, you can look at my sump And it's just coming from the west side. It's not coming from the east side. It's coming from that perimeter drain, all from the west side, like a fire hose in my sump pit.
And I hear what you're saying, I hear what she's saying. You know, something has to be done out there. And this is a start. And I'll make that motion, Greg, that we start that.
Okay.
Don't want to.
So you're making a motion that we do an assessment increase for Cotswold Hill.
Yes.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And a second, I've got a motion by Mr. Dodd and a second by Mr. Byram. Any other discussion?
Can we add to that motion, at least to look into a Plan B or Plan C? Try to help him as quickly as we can. I mean, it's tough to sit here and decide what you're going to do and how much it's going to cost. And
I'd make that a second motion, a separate motion.
There's no quick fix, right?
Mr. Wilson,
Either way is okay, separate motion or add it on to the first motion. You can amend the motion.
Right.
well, I'm into just a new motion if you prefer.
Yeah, I'd make that a separate
so
motion.
our first motion would be to do a assessment increase for Cotswold Hills. I got a motion by Mr. Dodd and a second by Mr. Byram. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
I'll bring that paperwork forward.
And I'd like to make a motion that we have Greg look into other alternatives that may alleviate the water condition in this area, however minor or major that it can be, to try to help the situation out as soon as we can do.
Got a motion by Mr. Olery. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bray. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes as well. That's where we're at tonight. It may be through some of the things that Mr. Lake's doing, some of the things you're potentially doing, and maybe in the next few weeks, they can come up with something else to help you, and maybe through the grace of God, it will as well, but that's all we got tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other business would be the expiration of judicial review for assessment increase on the tap overhauls or regulated drain. Michelle?
We did not have any remonstrances filed, so that assessment increase can be Is there any new business?
Do we need a motion on that? All right, public comment. That's what was, there you go. New business is passed, but we got public comment.
Hi, my name is Flo Pogue, and my husband and I live at 4107 Mill Court in a ranch home in Holiday Hills. We are also flooded by surface water that is along Dixon Road. Several years ago, they rearranged the drainage behind Alto Express on those fields there and put in new drainage, and that's when our problem began. My husband and I have lived in our home for 48 years, and we've never had any surface water in our home until 3 years ago. At that time, we had a gusher that came rolling down off of Alto Road. It looked like a cascade of water coming down the street across Mill, Carmelita, down into our subdivision, and we're the last house. We aren't flooded or intruded by the creek behind our house. The closest the water has ever gotten is about 6 feet from our fence, which is probably about 40 feet from our house. We are flooded by surface water. Like I said, it has not been this way until the last 3 years. We ended up with over 3 inches of water in our family room in our ranch-style home. Now, that may not sound like much, but we don't have flood insurance because we're not in a floodplain, nor have we ever thought about flood insurance, but we have been told that now we need it, and it's going to be $5,000 a year that we can't afford. That's with a $1,500 deductible and all the other little loopholes in the insurance policy. But we've got several $1,000s damage to our family room now. And we have no city drains. We have no city anything except street lights.
Were you annexed?
Pardon me?
Were you guys annexed?
Yes, they were.
They were annexed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have been there for 48 years. Street lights don't help a darn bit when it comes to drainage or anything like that. Our neighbors beside us are street floods, and there's a problem with them. It's our understanding that some of the homes up above us have springs underneath them. We actually have a utility pole in our neighbor's yard that's got a pipe running up the side of it. It's an electrical pole. It's super. It's got water running out of it almost every day. So we have never had anybody come out and say, gee, what can we do for drainage for you folks? When we went to the city and we asked them about storm sewers that we pay $38 a year for storm drains, we were told it was highly unlikely that we would ever get any type of drainage like that because they'd have to put in 2 or 3 lift stages, and they couldn't afford it. So we're like 20 feet below Alto Road, and something needs to be done with the drainage back behind Alto Express in that area. As things are developed and the land is covered and there's nowhere for the water to go, it's going to run down, and that's what it's doing. Part of it got worse when they put the storage sheds in up on Zartman Road. That covered up places where water was absorbed, and now it runs faster. So once again, we run into the water going down Dixon Road. When they put the drainage in behind Alto Express, they took it down Dixon Road. It's not big enough. And now they're coming from the other way, and they all dump into the creek. We're getting encroached from the creek in the south of us and surface water from the north. So add to your problem out at 26 and Dixon Road, we have the problem up above. So the whole area there along Dixon Road is in serious trouble. Can I answer any questions?
Flo, and I can call you Flo because I've known you most of my life. But have you guys contacted the city engineering department or anybody?
Yes. Yes. I asked Mayor Moore where I could send my repair bill. Because I told him, I said, you know, if I ran into, or a city vehicle ran into me, you have insurance, right? Because it was his fault. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, that's nice. This flooding is caused by your problem, so where do I send the bill?
So you've lived there for 40-some years?
48 years.
48 years. Since that time, do you remember how many drains were installed through the subdivision from Alto down? Because they were all there originally. So my question is, since you're being inundated with surface water, it's pumping out on top of the ground somewhere.
It's coming across the road.
But there was a drain there. I mean,
Well,
that drain carried the water for years and years.
We had swells that carried the water. And over the years, those people were allowed to fill in the swells because they didn't like it in their yard. And now there's nowhere for that water to be guided.
That is very accurate.
And the city engineer said, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to make them dig it up? And I said, yeah, I do.
I know that there are some clay tiles that run through your neighborhood.
There's some that was broken,
Yeah.
and it runs to the east of us. That's in the neighbor's yard.
I was out there back in the early 2000s, I remember.
Over there.
I remember doing some work out there with Jake when some of that was being done. And that's all it was broken tile, and I believe the homeowner ended up fixing it. But I would be guessing that some of the problem is your side road swales or the swales that run surface water have been filled in. And you have some tiling out there that is of age, that it's probably plugged up. That's helping push more water up to the surface.
They were out to help the neighbors because there's a constant lake in front of our one neighbor's driveway. And they've tried to control the water coming down Mill Street. But it's been to no avail.
I was gonna say-
They put in, they cleaned out the drain at Mill Court and Mill Street to no avail. But this is coming down between the houses north of us. I mean, it looked like a
I'm not as-
river.
Sure, but I'm not as concerned about where it's coming from as to where it's going. To me,
It
the
eventually
tile's
goes to
plugged
the
up.
creek.
Yeah, so in between your property and the creek is, sounds like is where the problem's occurring because the water's coming on top of the ground above you.
We have a perimeter drainage pipe that goes back into the field behind us. We have a perimeter drain or pipe from our patio, but with the amount of water that we receive, it's
not gonna keep up.
insufficient.
Correct, because of the other avenues for water to move have been closed off.
Well, no offense to the new subdivisions, but when they were put in, everything dumps into Dixon Road or whatever. We've been there a long time. I think we deserve some assistance here trying to figure out what to do with our drainage. And the more water that you dump into the creek is going to encroach on us from the creek. We had water this deep running in the field behind our house when we had the 7-inch rain. And it's getting close to our house. But we can't afford $5,000 a year for flood insurance.
For lack of a better term, it's kind of the trickle-down effect is what's happening.
Yeah, really, only it's gushing down.
No, I think
I think,
as we lose, as smaller drains plug up over the years and we close up our surface swales to move water, we're only compounding the problem.
I invite you to come and clean those drains out then.
I understand, but unfortunately, what I think you're going to hear me say and the board is, you've got to go to the city. There's no regulated drain in that neighborhood, and that's what we have the ability to work on and collect funds for.
Well, we do have, you do have control over what comes down Dixon Road. And when the water comes down Dixon Road both ways, it's got to go somewhere. I don't want it to be in our house.
I understand that, but the drain that we have control over on Dixon Road is up north of Alto Express. I mean, it's much further north. It's in between Zartman and Alto.
So you're saying the Drainage Commission has no control over anything in our area?
Over a particular drain in your area, that is correct. We do not have a regulated drain in that area.
That's
So-
why I ask you if you talk to
Pardon me?
That's why I ask if you talk to the city.
We've been to the city, and there's no relief. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, gentlemen. My name is Megan Massey, 3496 South, 450 West, Rushville. And I have some papers for you, pictures I'm going to pass out. So I gave you one address, but we're actually two properties. My in-laws live next door to us and are on the same watershed. I have some key points I want to go over, and then we can go over questions and photos. Our driveway gets washed away, rendering it unusable, leaving us stranded and costing time and money when there is about 3 inches of rain or more. This also damages our hayfield. Massive amounts of water coming from State Road 26 after it was rebuilt with new drainage is probably our biggest concern. We also have corn stalks from fields impeding the watershed, and we need to know what our rights are as landowners to block those corn stalks from blocking our drains. There's a road culvert on 450 West that's undersized and obstructed and falling apart. Downstream obstructions are in an open ditch on a adjacent property. There's a regulated drain that was replaced, the Butler Paget Wiles drain. There's a photo on page 2. That replacement didn't solve the problem. It did solve the fact that there were open holes of that drain that were falling in, but it didn't solve the influx of water that comes through. It needed upgraded, but it was not done so because the majority landowner was allowed to deny the upgrade. Two of us know that we heard mention of a solution for our driveway being included in the initial plan for the regulated drain project, but when they did construction, nothing was done for our driveway. And as I mentioned before, all that influx that's coming across that field and from 26 is too much. Proper grading was not completed after the replacement of the regulated drain, and we've requested it be corrected multiple times. There's what was left as piles of dirt, blocking part of the flow of the water from getting to the proper place, which makes it widen out on our driveway even further. Why the county should be involved. I know that you guys oversee drainage impacting private property, and you were directly involved in the rebuild of the regulated drain and can also help escalate issues with state agencies if something falls back on the state for the 26 project. The Indiana courts have ruled that recurrent flooding from government projects is a taking by inverse condemnation, requiring compensation or corrective action. And this issue could impact neighboring properties, making it a broader drainage concern. What we're looking for is resolution at the county level for any of the issues listed above that are within your guys' control, and to gain the board's support in holding NDOT accountable if that is the issue with the influx of water coming from 26, directing too much water onto our property without them properly planning for that amount of water to come through in that space. I've included photos of the flooding and the property damage. We also have videos available, and we have statements by a civil engineer that we had come out and take a look at his opinion of where the restrictions or problems were and why it was backing up into our property. That road on 450 West did flood. I've got photos of that on page 3. And he did say that the culvert that goes under that road is undersized, but not only that, there's obstructions just to the west of it that need dredged out. And then that, like I mentioned before, the property that has piles of stuff right in the open ditch. What questions do you have?
Quite the photos.
This has been going on for a while, but it's been significant in the last 8 years. And June 14th, the most recent one, was the worst. It was not passable at all, even after the water went through. After it went down, the driveway was not passable. So we're concerned about emergencies. My husband's on call for storm damage at his job. I'm an insurance agency owner. That needs to be available in the case of these major storms as well. And like I said, for emergencies, we're not able to leave the property. I know there is a response page, the last page that you have, I believe, where we did have the civil engineer reach out to Mr. Lake. And with your response, Greg, we had I've typed up my responses to those concerns or those ideas. So the idea of lowering it down and having like riprap in a low driveway, that still strands us into our property.
I understand, and I guess this has been an ongoing statement from the time your father-in-law built his home, is that that drive was, we didn't feel that that drive was gonna withstand the water, the flow of water over the surface through there.
There's how many drainage tiles in there?
There's a
How many
bunch.
do you have in the driveway? This is my husband, Adam.
I mean, the problem is, I mean, we were acceptance of the drain reconstruction in good faith that this was gonna take care of some of the issue, and it has absolutely not taken care of any of the issue. There's just as much water, if not more water, that flows across our driveway than ever has. So, I mean, what do we do at this point? I can't afford a $20,000 tile to go across my driveway to do it. And the other thing is when we initially were talking about the reconstruction, we were promised that that was potentially gonna be helped through the county, but then apparently when that came down to it and the tile was going in, that got dropped at some point, but then never was communicated to us.
The hope was the inlet on the south side of your drive would handle it, but it doesn't.
Oh, heck no, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't. The pipe is full by the time it reaches your property.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a jet engine when it's from the surface wire that goes down, absolutely 100%.
It's taking many more times the water than it ever did through that reconstruction.
100%. And the deal is you took out 75 feet of either side of that drainage tile of woods that was stopping the flow before, and now all you're doing is that there's no open ditch, there's nothing. There's the tile that flows, and then it's surface water the rest. And that, how is that now our problem that we did in good faith take out the trees, we did in good faith, we did all of the stuff that we needed to for the drain, but now it's worse than it ever has?
The trees came out so we could install the tile or reconstruct the tile through the woods.
The trees came, a lot of the trees came out because you didn't want them within so many feet of the tile.
Correct.
Not-
So
Yes,
that
some
we-
of them came out for the tile reconstruction. That is a correct statement.
So that we could leave the tile perforated, so that it would take water out of the ground.
But
not
here's
be
the deal,
solid.
when you dig up clay and then you replace clay on top of it, it does not drain. It stays wet through there. It's never really stayed wet through there before, but now it does. Because when you put clay on top of it, it doesn't go back through it.
It will over time. It takes a few years for the piping to come back to that tile, but that was a mess when we went through there because it was so wet. I mean,
It-
we
That
stuck
never
an
held water
excavator
like it
through
does
there.
now.
I mean, yeah, it's never held, I mean, I guess at that point, the foliage took care of that point. I mean, it was healthy soil before, now all it is clay and
It's vegetated though, correct?
It has grass.
it has, yeah, it has old tile that's on top of it that never got cleaned up. It has, huge rocks that never got taken care of. There's a couple spots that never got graded correctly. I mean, the south side of our driveway, we've contacted your guys' office a couple times to get that corrected because there was a swale beside our driveway, and now when they came back, when Redmond came back to do all the work, they just, went over the top of the swale that went down to that tile on the south
I
side.
was going to say, I know that I've sent a contractor back there at least 2 times for regrading. If not-
No,
not
I spoke
3.
with you and Mr. Van Horn a year ago, and he said to send him the information. I sent it to him every month from February to probably August, and never heard back. And he said that he was going to get somebody out there, and he did not.
I know we issued a work order for that to happen.
It's still outstanding then.
So did you follow up with us to see if the work order got taken care of?
I have not, no.
Okay.
Because all it was to fix the swale going down the south side of your drive so that it would drain to that inlet.
Correct.
And I know that the contractor went out there. So maybe he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd have to-
if he, yeah, whatever he did, it was not that part. I know that they came out later on after the reconstruction to try to regrade through my father's property. Yes, that is a correct statement. But as far as taking care of the issue that we've asked multiple times, they never took care of that.
In regards to your original statement about as long as they've been out there, when they purchased the property, yes, water did come through that area, which is why they had those drainage tiles put in. There's at least 7. But it's never been the volume that it is now. And that this is, like I said, a huge influx of it has come from 26. And we need to know, like, what recourse is there to get them involved for this damage?
I would tell you to talk to an attorney about that, because it's a natural water course, and if you're trying to tell the state they can't put in the culvert for a 100-year rain event, then you'd have to take that up with them. But that's what they designed.
You can see in the photos even, I have the June 14th photos, but then I also have June 5th photos, which was only about 3 inches, and we still had an issue. So we're not talking about this only causes issues for large events.
It's the intensity of the event that's causing most of our problems. It's how quickly it's coming down. Even if we only get 2 to 3 inches, if we get it in an hour, that's part of the problem with the overall surface runoff. And I don't disagree that you're getting a lot of that running down through that water course. Absolutely.
One of the frustrations at the county level, I know that we probably need to talk to somebody at the state. We were hoping for support from you guys in the form of what reports you guys have, proof, anything that we can get from you and assistance from the state side. But then also on the county side, it's frustrating to hear, you guys had somebody come out to spray stuff for the woods to keep trees from growing on our property, which we were not informed of the day that it happened. So my 11-year-old son and my mother-in-law both went through the entire area that had been sprayed without knowing it. So that's a concern. But also, so our property, we're being told we need to maintain it. If we don't want it sprayed, we're responsible for maintaining it. But the property to the northwest of ours that has piles of junk obstructing the open ditch
Okay,
are
it's not an open ditch through there. It's actually the tile through there. But I do agree that there is encroachment on the easement. in the
Yes,
75
that's the
foot.
point I'm trying to make.
Absolutely, but water has a very large area to run through there. But
It still
I'm
causes
writing a
it to
letter-
slow down.
I'm writing a letter to Mr. Hawkins to tell him to move the wood piles off the easement.
Okay. And then the other thing the other concern that we have is that to the south of us, there's lots of field that gets plowed in the spring, so there's loose stalks. So then those loose stalks come over on our property, and they're plugging up all of those drainage tiles that they paid money to put in.
The drain
And they're
inlets.
obstructing our ability to maintain our property when this happens. So the question was asked, what can we do to block those corn stalks from coming onto our property? And we were told that if we build up a berm, do anything permanent to keep those corn stalks from coming onto our property, that we are obstructing a watershed. But the corn stalks from someone else's property is obstructing the watershed.
So you may have not been communicated or misunderstood. You can't berm up a natural water course. That is 100% accurate. But as far as trying to hold back field debris, there are things you can do for that. I mean, you can put some hedges in or some different alternatives. I don't have a good answer for field debris. That's one of the largest problems we have across the entire county of plugging up drains and drain structures is field debris. They're out there with an excavator digging them out just to keep water moving. So, yes. as
So we
far
are
as
allowed to
building a
plant
berm-
things.
Building a berm, you cannot do.
Okay,
You
but we
can't
can
block
plant
up water.
bushes or whatever to
Right.
block them.
If you can put up something that will capture the field debris but allow water to pass, man, I think that's $1 billion industry if you can figure out how to do it, because I haven't had any luck yet on keeping drains from plugging up with field debris.
I mean, I guess my concern is, why is somebody else's stuff that comes from their property my issue? Like, why isn't the county saying, if you're gonna be on this watershed, you should have to till under in the fall to avoid this?
Because there are actually programs that are trying to make them not till at all.
Well, and I understand that, but,
So, yeah, they're getting paid to not till it.
so if I built a dam across from the south side of my father's property to stop all the corn stalks, and I guess the other concern is, you were just now finally telling me that you were going to send an email or a letter to the Hawkins. So
No,
that
I
you,
did that here. I
No,
did that
and
in
you-
this response.
you never said, in the response, you never said that you were gonna send a letter. You agreed with the fact that it was in there, but you never said that you were going to address the concern.
No, I'm addressing that issue.
Well, yes, but why does it take me coming to a board meeting to address that concern?
I thought I addressed it in this email.
Okay.
By
Well,
agreeing with
I guess it's just frustrating that this is multiple things that have not been addressed yet. Like, yeah.
As far as the road culvert that you were talking about, that isn't part of the regulated drain, so that's county highway. That's what I explained in this email as well.
Since you guys are part of the county, are you able to have that conversation with them that needs taken care of?
I would be happy to have that conversation with county highway.
So one
Thank
of the
you.
sidewalls of the culvert has actually completely collapsed.
It did.
My mother said that there was a county guy out there today. They just happened to stop. My mom stopped and talked to them. They said, hey, it collapsed. She said, oh, that sucks, but there's no money to fix it. So, and then the other part is the civil engineer that I had come out, he's worked for multiple municipalities before and multiple firms, and he says that our problem is to the west of us. It is, the water cannot get under the road fast enough. There's, the south side, or the west side of that road where the culvert is, it needs dredge. It's 2 feet higher than what the low grade elevation point of the culvert.
Oh, absolutely, and that will always stay that way unless the landowner cleans that.
Don't you have an easement there?
Not for that surface water. Our drain is the pipe. That's what we oversee is the pipe.
But there's vegetation growing directly over top of it, so that falls into the easement's jurisdiction, correct? I mean, this is
I'm not
right by the
following you
road.
yet.
It's not necessarily in someone's
I
yard.
know, but that would mean we would have to go and actually remove the sediment on the west side of that road culvert,
Yeah.
and that's not part of the regulated drain.
So
Well-
who's responsible for that? Because there's
The landowner.
sediment, vegetation.
That landowner's responsible for his side of the
Well,
road, yeah.
about 20 feet of that road is actually your responsibility. So there's a right-of-way easement right there that you guys are not maintaining at that point then.
Oh, you're just talking about the road easement.
Well,
It's
There's a
it's
road
directly west of the culvert under the road.
Right, so
That
you're
it's-
saying-
there's only about a foot, 2 feet from the top of the culvert to the top of the vegetation and the sediment. So even though it may be 4 feet for the culvert, the water that's flowing is only that top foot.
I agree with that completely, and
so why am I responsible for everything else, but then nobody else is responsible? So if you're saying that the sediment is a landowner's responsibility, well, if there's a bunch of sediment that just happens to get on the top of my surface to back up on somebody else's property, you're saying that you're not gonna tell me to do anything about it?
if you were if you owned the west side of the road culvert, we don't have any mechanism to tell you you have to put a waterway through your field to address that road culvert. That's correct. If
Not
you-
put
if
a
you go-
waterway through it,
If
but
you go
clear
around
out
the
what's
county,
there.
you'll see a lot of those road culverts are, the top of the ground is at the top of the culvert, and it's just a pass-through. At one time, it used to be at the bottom of that culvert, but they haven't been maintained for years and years, and that sediment builds up.
So can we-
Absolutely.
What can we do to this board to get them to,
Enforce that.
I don't think this board has jurisdiction over that.
so what is the solution for our driveway? How do we get emergency vehicles through our driveway? Like right now, it's, like, I saw a FedEx guy, his wheels came off the ground because, like, how bad
I'm sure it cut with that last rain.
It did. I mean, you can see on the one photo where you see me standing next to it, how deep it cut in. That was even after we had kind of started filling it in a little bit, but it does cut in deep. And yeah, I mean, until we're able to, I mean, it's still not fixed right now because we don't want to waste money. We're trying to figure out what the solution is. But yeah, I mean, it's not.
I don't, and that's what I keep trying to explain to you, is I don't know how you raise your driveway so that surface water does not cut through it without putting a large enough structure in that is going to handle the volume of water that's coming through 26. I don't have a good answer for you, other than it's going to cost a significant amount of money to put in that size of structure.
But here's some of the problem is if the water can't get, if the water that's there isn't getting rid of fast enough, then that's the issue too.
But when I look at these photos, it looks like a white water rapids. It's moving through that area.
Yes,
It's
to the
it's
culvert.
absolutely moving
But then
through
it's
that
not,
area.
it can't get rid of it fast enough on the west side of it.
In between there and that culvert, it spreads out into our
Into your large
field,
field. It's a large pool.
which again is damage on our property.
It's a large pool that drains within 48 hours, correct?
Meanwhile, we have how many feet into the field was covered with gravel?
Yeah, 50, 60, 70.
Where it cut through your driveway.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you that the only way that I can see you doing this cheaply is what I've expressed, is by lowering it. And I
Which
hear what
still
you're telling
restricts us
me
from
is
leaving.
that you can't drive through it if you lower it and armor it. I understand that. So that gives you a second option, which is a much more expensive option, is to raise it and put a structure in that will handle the flow. Those
So-
are the only two options that I can see for this driveway, and that's all I got.
That brings us back to when the original discussion with the reconstruction of that drain, there was a conversation about putting something in our driveway because that does go straight through our driveway. And somehow that completely disappeared. And so now, basically, we're being told that it's our responsibility, we need to build something. It's going to be a huge expense for us. But, I mean, there's literally in Indiana code, it says, when in the reconstruction or periodic maintenance of a regulated drain, the county surveyor determines that a private crossing will not adequately handle the flow of water from the drain or will be endangered by such flow, the county surveyor shall, in the county surveyor's plans, call for the removal of the crossing. Then it says the replacement of a private crossing, when necessary, may be accomplished by part of the work of the reconstruction or maintenance. And then it goes on to say that that can be assessed over the course of the other people that are in the watershed because it does affect the flow across all properties.
So what you're quoting there is for an open ditch, as far as a private crossing. This is a tile. So your private crossing is your driveway that you're going across the top of the tile.
It just says regulated drains. To me, I don't see where that's involving just an open ditch.
Because there's what's the functioning flow of the regulated drain?
The functioning flow,
Yeah, so where's the water flowing at?
so it comes over the top and it goes under.
It flows through that tile. That tile's the regulated drain that it's flowing through. When it runs out of capacity, the water is then seeking down the natural water course. So it's going to follow the low all the way until it hits an outlet.
So,
It's running out of capacity because it wasn't built to the actual specification that was needed.
I don't disagree that we should have had a 36-inch drain. That's what you're talking about. That's what I said
Yes.
in the reconstruction hearing. It should be a 36-inch drain down to 26. And that would have doubled the volume that it takes today. Now, would that stop this? No, I don't believe it would. It would reduce it,
It would make it passable.
maybe. Yeah,
But
maybe.
I guess here's the frustration. We paid all this money, both properties, to do this drain, and it's no better than it was before. It's actually worse than what it was before. So, out of good faith, what am I supposed to do now? So, and here's the other problem. The property to our south, back, and let's say 25 years ago, built a pond, and it was in the natural watershed, and nobody said, hey, you can't build a pond there. Did anybody take care of the problem that caused? Because now they built up this berm, so it's forcing the water further to the east of us 25 years ago. But nobody said anything then. So like my frustration is, what if I just put concrete tiles, like barricades on the south side of my driveway to stop my driveway from flooding? Because I can't keep paying thousands of dollars for reconstruction of gravel all the time because of other people. You know, it's not maintained further down the way. Like I got to do something to protect myself. So there's got to be some other recourse to do this.
The only thing that I can explain to you is you cannot block up a natural water course. So
Okay,
therefore,
well,
if you put those berms up
So
and
the
you're
pond that
not
was
blocking
installed
the water,
25 years ago, it blocked the natural water course, so.
then you would have a right to sue that individual that did it. I mean, if they block the natural water course, that would be where you would be able to hire an attorney and sue those individuals for blocking of the natural water course.
So what are we allowed to do?
So the common enemy doctrine explains that you can maneuver water, surface water, on your property as long as you do not collect and cast it onto your neighbor and you do not block up a natural water course. Beyond that, it's pretty well wide open, but I would default over to Alan on that.
I think you described it pretty well. I mean, that's what the common enemy doctrine is.
The concrete that he was mentioning was to redirect it. It is a redirect because the way that the berm is right now, it is pushing it further south, widening this water flow across. So even if
Are we
we
talking
did,
about the little pond?
there is a little pond,
Okay.
but also the grading issue from the reconstruction, it is widening the surface area that it's going across the driveway, causing even more of a widespread issue instead of an acute issue.
Because we leveled that down through there. That's correct.
So,
But it needs, with all the tiles that we have in that location, it's not all going to where the tiles are to get across the driveway. It has widened into where you see it cut down and where it travels further east on the driveway. So what he was referring to was putting concrete barriers along the more eastern side on the south edge of the driveway to redirect the flow back to where it's supposed to be going.
I understand
But also
what you're
having you
asking.
guys come out and regrade to
So,
go to that location
is
as
this
well.
a fair assessment to say, as long as I am not impeding the water and I am directing the water to a different way, I can do whatever I want, is what you're saying?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, that's,
So if, I think I'm starting to see what you're trying to describe is you're wanting to focus the surface water into your 5 or 7 pipes that go underneath the drive. So what you're seeing is those pipes can't accommodate the flow, so it just keeps stacking up taller, and that's why you're getting a wider footprint and why it's starting to go around those pipes, because as it comes up, the drive elevation is starting to seek level off the
that's
side.
So
of
the
pipe.
reason why we were trying to do that and get it to focus to that location is because if we did do some sort of hard surface only in that area, it would focus it on that area and not wash out the entire driveway. And that way, like, because if we pour concrete over the tiles, then it's more likely to stay put with some riprap on the side than if we pour concrete on top of where the dirt would flow underneath, and it would erode underneath the concrete, and it would destroy the driveway at some point.
No, I think that's a reasonable option as far as if you're gonna try and narrow the flow path over your drive and concrete that portion of your drive. It makes sense. I think it would be doable. I would definitely make sure you toe in the concrete on the south side of your drive, though. I would dig a footer in because it will want to eat it.
Yes, I agree with all those statements, but that doesn't take care of the downward flow of the water that's getting backed up. Because if you went out there.
But this is
it's-
flowing. I mean, this is flowing across your drive.
Yes, but it slows down once it gets past my driveway.
Sure. But
So-
it's still flowing. I mean, it's moving across the drive. It can slow down and spread out in your field.
Yeah,
as
but
it-
I don't need it to slow down in my field, I need it to slow down before it gets to my driveway. That's the
Oh.
problem. Because the more it flows over my driveway like that, I can't keep affording to buy more gravel because of a terrible watershed.
Right. I just thought you were describing of putting concrete over a narrow area so that you can shrink this
That's
flow
one,
over
that's
the
one
top of it.
idea, but also problem with it slowing the flow downstream is that that is also making it a longer time frame where we're unable to leave the property. So the quicker that it can get out of there, the better.
I don't disagree with that. I just, from what I see here, is your downstream is not nearly the issue as your upstream.
So the civil engineer completely disagreed with that. He said the upstream, he said the downstream is the problem. It's the restriction, it's not flowing fast enough across the ground. So,
If your opinion is that it's the upstream, would you guys be willing to assist us in contacting the state?
I don't know what you would want me to contact them.
NDOT.
I mean, I can give you their information to contact them.
I understand, but I feel like it does help to have your expertise and something coming from you that, in your opinion, this is contributing to the issue.
I'm happy to do that. I can tell you what they're going to submit back from their hydrologist is they have sized that culvert underneath 26 to accommodate a 100-year rain event and the tailwater of the watershed to come through. And that's what it's sized at. That's how they.
Currently, all stopped up, and I called the state. On the 10th of this month, I called a guy from the state, and he promised me he would get a guy out there, took my name, my email, that I will send you a notification when we do it, and it's still plugged up. There's probably 2 triaxle semis of course shucks just plowed out there. Someone has gone out there and done something, because they're plowed 8 feet high.
Yeah, the landowner went out and dug them out.
Well, and then it rained 3 days later and washed it all back in.
Yep.
So your tile is not working over there.
My tile's not those culverts. My tile is off,
Doesn't that water pour into that tile?
not through those culverts, no.
Not through those catch basin things over there?
No.
What is it for?
That's just for surface water to move it underneath 26.
That's it.
That's
It
it.
does not connect to the tile.
Nope, I have a small riser off to the west side of those 2 pipes. I have a manhole there, and I have a small, little 6-inch trash basket.
Because it dams it up and holds it back.
That's why I was gonna ask, if you wanted that cleaned out, that should help move water through there quicker. Because right now with it plugged up, it's not gonna move as quick.
Over there on Salisbury, and I don't have to worry about it coming through there so fast.
Correct.
I'm not gonna call for it.
But I'm confident that's what they're gonna tell you, because that was what they designed it for.
Even though they designed that for a 100-year flood, we are still downstream of that, and they are, like I mentioned, that is considered a taking of property, that they're moving that much water onto our property, even if it's not a constant flow of water, even if it's intermittent. There have been cases that has been considered a taking of property.
I would have to default you to your attorney on that.
So there's nothing you can help us with, reports, history of that being done, nothing?
I can get you the engineer that would be over this area for NDOT. That would be what I can do. And there's plans and stuff on that road. But
Okay.
as far as trying to do a taking or something along that lines with the state, that would be you and your private attorney.
We're trying to consider all routes here, because we need to do something.
Yep. I will talk to County Highway about the structure and see what they're thinking on that. I am sending a letter to Mr. Hawkins to tell him to move his wood piles off the easement. So those two things I'm happy to do.
So the 30-foot right-of-way that you guys have on the west side of that road, can you go dredge out to your 30 feet then?
No. Because the road right-of-way is for the road, and County Highway doesn't clean out the material on culverts. I can ask. I'll ask Amber if that's something she's willing
Worth a
to
try.
do. But if she did it for one, she'd have to do it for every single person that has a road culvert. I just don't see her doing that.
So are you saying those right-of-ways are just for when they have equipment out there working on the road? It is not for maintaining within 30 feet of the road?
From my understanding on the road right-of-ways, yes, those are for the roads.
Can we refer that, Alan?
Yeah.
What's the question?
So for the road right-of-way where it needs dredged out, is there any responsibility for the road within that 30-foot easement for them to dredge that out, to take care of that culvert?
I'm not sure I know the answer to that question. You mean to dredge out under the road or above the road?
To the west?
So there's a photo in there there is a culvert under the road.
Right.
It's, I believe, maybe a 4-foot culvert, but there's so much sediment and vegetation that there's really only a foot or maybe 18 inches of space for water to actually flow out. So it's not functioning enough to move water out of our property.
So who would you be asking to clean that up? Property owner?
Yeah, the
So-
landowner, which would be 30 feet of the county's road.
No, they're wanting
It's
County
within
Highway to
it's
do it.
within the 30 feet of the road. It's right next to the road.
In the right-of-way?
So it's in the right-of-way. So we're asking, like, with that being a right-of-way, do they have the ability, the responsibility to dredge that?
So here's the road. So if you took a 30-foot imaginary line, it would be out here like this. They're wanting this area inside the road right-of-way to be cleaned out. Even if we dug that out, we still have an elevation issue. And that's why you can see it here. They cleaned that out there.
Yeah.
You go another, past that 30 feet, it's still not enough to get down to this elevation. And
So
that's what
here-
I'm saying
Here's
is,
the culvert going under the road. Here's the county's right-of-way.
Well, I can just say in general terms, the county has, anybody that has a right-of-way has a duty to maintain it. I don't know if that, based upon what Greg says, though, I don't know if that solves your problem.
I feel like there's multiple factors involved, so we're trying to address all of them in hopes that there's at least some resolution.
Right, right.
I will ask. But I would say don't get your hopes up on that one, but I'll ask.
That's all we're asking. So we need help in, like I said, multiple areas, and hopefully that will help. we're open to suggestions as well.
I will tell you with the corn stalks, my church had the same issue. I asked Mr. Lake, he gave me the same answer.
Well,
I
my
wound
thing
up
is-
hiring- I wound up hiring my grandson to clean them up.
My thing is I'm willing to install a fence on the west side of that property to keep the corn stalks on the landowner's property at that point, like.
I
The
just
problem
want to
is,
make the point,
you aren't gonna
he's
be able to keep that
consistent.
fence up.
Yeah.
It's gonna knock it down every rain.
So if I poured concrete, pilasters and then, put heavy cattle gate across there, you're saying that it's not gonna keep that?
It might, but every fence that I've seen go up for field debris is taken down by water. Mother Nature wins.
I'm willing to do a little bit of work to try to alleviate this because, I mean, the amount of corn stalks is just astronomical and I don't understand how the landowner isn't responsible for their own property at that point.
I got nothing.
If nothing else, he's consistent. He gave me the same answer.
And he didn't like it either.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to keep going on. But to wrap this up, there's some things that some people you will be contacting, and if you could,
Right now, I'm gonna contact County Highway
yes,
about the road culvert. And there is a letter going out to Mr. Hawkins. Those are the two
Yes.
people that I'm telling you I will be happy to work with.
okay. I thought you said something about getting a hold of copies of what happened on 26.
If you want a copy of the plan that what was approved for 26, I can get you in touch with the area engineer, and he can get that information for you.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get you his, I have your email. I'll email you his name and number.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Byram and second by Mr. Dodd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.